Jeff.
What's
This
going
is
on?
John Kouris, and I'm here with Jeff Burris, my old friend and teammate from Notre Dame. And this is great to be with you. It's great to see you. You know,
You too, John. Man,
when's the last time we saw each other?
Oh,
30, 25 years ago?
At least. And I know we were supposed to try to meet up last year, and obviously with the situation of COVID and things that went on. But man, it's great finally getting a chance to see you.
Yeah, you too. And much love to you. You're always really one of the guys that I looked up to. You were a true leader, and the way you carried yourself, man, just a classy guy. Just somebody that embodied what the spirit of Notre Dame was for me. I mean, you know, quiet, humble, but a great guy, and more than just a football player. You know, that was you. But can you share with the audience what it was like to be at Notre Dame in the 90s when we were there? Just like give them a little bit of an idea of what it was like.
Oh man, it's surreal. I mean, I sit back and I talk with yourself and all my former brothers, because it was more than teammates. Just the overall experience was unbelievable. I had a chance to talk to a couple guys that were being recruited about Notre Dame, and one of the things I would always tell them, I said, when you get on campus, you'll know. You will know whether you belong or you don't belong, because there's no in between. You either love us or you hate us. There's no fine line. I think I'm gonna last for a year or two. No, you either are all in or all out. And I can just remember, I just thinking about the time there that I spent 4 years on that campus and never really knew South Bend, because everything, my life was centered around Notre Dame and the campus, and it was home. And I grew up, all the pitfalls, or whether pitfalls or the tremendous accolades that you gained during that time frame, whatever it may be, all those things happen within the confines of the campus. And I sit back sometimes and I just think about me being in Carroll Hall and having a chance to walk by the lake, or right before exam times, going out and studying by the lake, or during the spring when was the 3 days of spring, that you get a chance to go out and you walk past the grotto, and just to walk on the campus and be there and be a part of what, not just the tradition, but the brotherhood I can't describe it. I really can't. It's just, you have to live it to really appreciate it. And all my brothers that we talk about our time frames, and I take pride in it. I actually talked to a gentleman a couple of days ago, and I saw he had some Notre Dame memorabilia in his store, and my whole disposition changed, because I'm in South Carolina and I see this and I'm like, okay, well, there's a connection right there. And I want to know this person. I want to get to know them, because if they're Notre Dame fans, then they're part of this family. So the tremendous tradition, the people, the place itself, those things you can't replace.
Yeah. And so you were a captain, you're an All-American. What kind of weight does that add to the already almost insurmountable pressure that we felt being a part of the program?
You're trying to uphold a standard. I can remember, when you're as freshman, as a sophomore, as a junior, and then that opportunity came about, and I was floored. But but the three guys that were a part of it, I look at it. You're talking about two Hall of Famers, Bryant Young and Aaron Taylor, and then Tim Ruddy, a Hall of Fame person, Hall of Fame all around guy. And for me to be a part of that group was surreal. I mean, because of the three guys that I was elected, to be to be a representative of the team was surreal for me, because I never thought of it in that manner. I never thought. I love playing the game. I love being around my teammates. I just love all the things that came along with being on campus and being a Notre Dame football player and Notre Dame student athlete. And for me to be elected as a captain and hold that prestige honor was truly something special. And I wanted to make sure that I upheld it for my teammates, for my brothers like you, John, and do the right things and stand for the right things. And you know, I didn't do everything right, but I tried my best to make sure that I set the right standard for the young men that would truly follow me at the same time.
Well, you were unforgettable for me, all of you, you know, and to this day, I mean, we're talking 25 odd years later, 28 years later, but this love that just never goes away. And those memories that we made are incredible, and they run through my bones and body every day. I think about our experiences every day. And listen, I was the scrub. I wasn't you. But it didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's right here. It's in here. And
everyone on that team, no matter what your role was special. I mean, people don't understand that. I mean, our brotherhood that bond is unbelievable. I hear what you're saying, where you're trying to belittle your role, whatever it may be. But listen, John, there's no Jeff Burris without the John Kouris, and there's no the Brian Bakers and guys that make Notre Dame what Notre Dame really is. And I've been blessed. I've been blessed to be surrounded with the right people. So, and that's part of it, being blessed to be surrounded with people that really can impact your life and change the person that you are. And I've been fortunate enough to have some quality people in my life to impact me in the right way.
Thank you. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Demetrius DuBose. Do you remember your first memory of Demetrius?
I remember my first memory of Demetrius was seeing him. I'm lining up as a freshman tailback, and he always, for some reason, he always looked smooth at practice. Like his shirt was always tucked the right way, and we weren't supposed to. I mean, he always had no. His shirt, it was tucked, but he would let his white long shirt come down. So he was. I don't think he had. Everyone else had hostess rules, but Demetrius, everyone else had. And he'd come out with a spat with a linebacker. I'm like, what does linebacker do with a spat on? But it was black. And he looked the part, and it's like, man. And the intensity and the focus, and you just like, this dude loves playing the game. And then outside of, when you see him on campus, it was like, yeah, Demetrius knows me. You know, it was cool. It's like, man, Demetrius knows who I am. No, not really, but I think he does.
Oh, he knew who you were. We all knew who you were. Don't even have it twisted. So your first memory is just his intensity, and then the way he did stand out. He was different, like he was unique,
but not just the intensity, the quality person he was. I mean, he is, and what he represented. I mean. It was about the brotherhood. I mean, we were talking, I was just talking about the brotherhood. He was about the brotherhood, and he was about just being present all the time and just with everyone. And it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable just to see he was Notre Dame. When you think about Notre Dame, you think about a student athlete at Notre Dame. I remember this vividly. I used to see him walk into class and just being around other people, and it's like, man, I want that, you know, because he had something to him when he walked to class. He walked with pride. He represented a student athlete in every aspect of his life, and the quality of person that I know was great. And he was just a great teammate. You see him in the dining room, you could go up, and he was approachable, and he had the things that you were looking, you know, ultimately you wanted to be, and smiled and laughed and joked. And but when he got on that field, it was that switch, he turned it on, and he was intense as it comes. And but I loved that about him. I loved it about him.
What was your most memorable moment on the field with Demetrius?
There's too many. I mean, there was too many, because I came down one time. I was making a tackle. Next thing I know, I got speared in the side. Like, whoa! It's friendly fire. He's gonna be there. Demetrius came along, but it wasn't. It actually wasn't in the game. It was. This is what set the standard for me from my time being at Notre Dame. It was my freshman year. I had just got moved over from running back to defensive back, and we were about to play Tennessee, and they had the high-powered offense with with all the Carl Pickens, Alvin Harper, and Kelly was the quarterback, and they Reggie Cobb, I think, was a running back, but they were loaded. And I remember watching him before the game. He was just in the locker room, and Stoney was overdoing his thing. So Michael Stoneberg was overdoing his thing, and Demetrius was over just like, it's about to go down. Like, it was like we're about to do work today. And I was like, man, look at this. And he was just like, he was so locked in and so focused, but it was a happy, intense. It was like, we're about to put on the show today. And for me, that set the standard for every game from there on out, how my approach mentally should be. Because, and he went out and he balled. I mean, he was guaranteed 15 tackles at least a game. But he went out, and the intensity he played with that game was just unbelievable. And we won the game. But just to see his focus and the mental approach to that game was unbelievable.
Yeah. What are some of your memories off the field of Demetrius? Did you get a chance to hang out much off the field with him?
We didn't necessarily hang out a lot. I know he used to hang out with Nick and Carl, and but whenever I would see him off campus, or whenever, not as off campus, but on campus, when you see him walking around on campus, it's like you knew if you needed anything, he was there. He had your back no matter what, whether you're on the field or off the field. This was your brother, and you knew. And it was just like that welcoming smile every time you saw him. It's like, okay, that's my brother. It's like, cool. That's my big brother, because I was, we're younger. It's like, that's my big brother. Look at that. So that experience for me was always something that I appreciated.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me what it's like to go from Notre Dame to the NFL. What kind of a transition is that?
It is well, because of Notre Dame. I mean, it's the fanfare and the following is like it's almost comparable to an extent. I was fortunate enough to go to Buffalo, and I think I was accepted because I came from Notre Dame. It was crazy because Western New York was like a huge Notre Dame Irish area, and it was like, man, like it was like crazily me saying this, I was like a rock star because I was coming from Notre Dame going to Buffalo, and I'm talking to Buffalo that just came from 4 Super Bowls. So I'm talking Buffalo with Bruce Smith. I'm talking Buffalo with Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, Cornelius Bennett, Kent Hall. I can keep on, and it was like, man, just because. And I remember one day at practice, it was later on in my career, and it was at Buffalo, and I wanted to be in Buffalo, and it was my 4th year, so it was my contract year. And you're going through the process, and you're trying to negotiate, and I had an agent, he was negotiating, and one of my buddies, Henry Jones, we were sitting on the bench, and we were at practice. He's like, man, what's wrong with you? I lock in. It's like, I'm good, man. I just want this contract thing over. He's like, hey, chill out, man. So you came from Notre Dame. You're good. You're set. I was like, whoa, okay. But that resonated for me. That resonated for me from a standpoint of how people viewed our university, our brotherhood, and even more so how the standard we've created and the university has created. So that was special for me, and to understand that I did make a right choice and chose right from a school standpoint.
Yeah. What did you get a chance to see much of Demetrius when you were in the NFL together? Did you have any interactions with him?
We didn't because he was in Tampa and San Diego. So we didn't cross paths. I was in AFC East. And
Yeah.
so we didn't cross paths much, but trust me, I followed every opportunity that, because, you know, I wanted to, and he looked great in that orange and white, man. He was like, I thought when we went to Tampa, I was like, man, this is it. He's the next, you know, at the time, Hardy Nickerson was doing his deal. I was like, yeah. He's about to really blow up there. And I thought that would be a great fit. And I just remember watching him like, man, come on, D, you're rooting, you know, every game, every chance I had, I was like watching the game just to see how he did.
Yeah.
So
what is it like once the crowd stops cheering? What's it like when you have to put up the cleats, when you have to move on to the next phase of your life? What kind of a drop is that emotionally and mentally?
it's a tremendous fall off if not prepared. And few guys are ever prepared, whether, you know, you have the great stories of guys being successful and going right into coaching, and, you know, your Mike Vrabels of the world, or the Deion Sanders, or, you know, guys that have been successful, Detroit Aikmans, and from a commentating, and why am I drawing a blank right now? Tony Romo, guys that have been very successful, but they're still within the sports realm. They're still searching for that same feeling. And when you walk away from the game, and I chose to walk away after my 10th year, and I had my major concussion. It's hard. I lost a lot. During that time frame. I lost a lot with my family, my relationships with my kids, and things of that sort, because you just don't know how to and I thought I was prepared. I mean, to be honest with you, John, I thought I was prepared, but unless you have a game plan, unless you've initiated year 2, year 3, year 4, and you actually have been working on your game plan, you're never prepared for it. And it took my first 2 years were like ghost years. It took it hard, because I felt like I could still go play. Mentally, I felt like I could still go play, but physically, I had some ailments. But then there was part of me that I knew that if I continued to play, that the consequences that would soon come, which dealing with the concussions, and dealing with the emotional ups and downs, and those are real. They're real, and I fight every day. I'm on a group text with several guys, and we motivate each other, and we keep each other uplifted, and we keep each other encouraged, and we keep everybody focused on what we need to do as men. And sometimes your life is defined by being whether it's a student athlete or whether a professional athlete. Your life is defined by that until you find a purpose. And right now I got a purpose, and that's been good for me to be able to get into coaching, not from a monetary standpoint, but for the young men that I coach, because I want to make sure that they're on the right path in life, that they understand that there's opportunities for themselves outside of just the sports, and how they impact other people, how they impact their kids, whether they have kids or not. And that's important. And that's my purpose right now. And I thank God every day that I have one. And I stay prayed up because without my faith, it would be tough. But I stay prayed up, and I stay focused on the things that God has given me, and the blessings that He has given me. And I can't sit back and worry about the things that have suffered, because I got to move forward, and I got to represent what He wants me to represent.
I feel you. That's beautiful, Jeff. I'm proud of how honest you are and how you've evolved. And I know you've had your struggles. I've had my struggles. Demetrius had real struggles after playing. He missed it. I think he really identified with being a football player. And when that is taken away suddenly, even even for people like me who didn't play much, when you stop playing, it's hard. I went to a dark place in my life, like for years in my 20s. It was just, but let's talk about 1999, July 24th, 1999. That's the day that Demetrius died. Do you remember hearing the news, and what was your reaction once you heard it?
I immediately wanted to know exactly what transpired, because no matter what the news said, that wasn't my brother. That wasn't the guy that I modeled a lot of things around. And for me, it hit home and it hit hard, because that's my brother. And it's like, what? He did? No. To this day, I still don't. You still can't tell me no. I won't accept it. And when I heard the news and how things transpired, and it hit hard. It really did. It hit hard, and it still hits hard now. There are things that I just you categorize things and you learn to put them in certain areas, and to understand that. Then there's a level of guilt that you feel like, why what could I have done anything? Could I have helped? Is there anything? Who's talked to him? That's the next thing I actually. Who's the last person talking? Anybody talk to him? What happened? Because you want to know. You want to have an idea of, what was he going through? What was the pain? Why couldn't I have been there to help? And that's what the brotherhood's about. Trying to make sure you help. And you and I have talked, and I know you got things in place right now with other brothers, but that was tough. That was a tough one. That again, like I said, I'm not swallowing it for sure, because I don't. No, there was more to it, and I don't know, but there's more to it for sure.
I know, because like the last 7 years of my life, that's all I've done is lived what happened to Demo, and thousands of pages of legal documents, depositions, witness testimony. And I can just tell you, just watch the video I shot yesterday, because I went through my interpretation of what exactly happened on that night.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I will.
And if you look at today's context with Breonna Taylor, George Taylor, Tamir Rice, all of the names, Demetrius is one of those names now. And it's real. His story, you put it in context, and he is a tragic victim. And his name has been forgotten, though. And I think it's important for our university to recognize Demetrius and put number 31 on the back of their helmets this year, especially if you put Black Lives Matter before your pregame.
Absolutely.
I think that's important. And I think the NFL has to recognize Demetrius DuBose. I mean, they have other people's names on the back of helmets, but not Demetrius's. He was an NFL player.
Absolutely.
So that, for me, that's part of this movement, is I want people to recognize and understand his story. I don't want people to get upset. I don't want people to throw stuff through buildings, or I want people to understand and give pause through Demetrius' story, to raise our collective consciousness and to do something about it, to start understanding each other on a real human level, right? That's important.
Absolutely.
But I want you to, Jeff, look at me, and this is your chance. If you had one more thing you could tell Demetrius or say to Demetrius, I just want you to tell me what you would say to Demo.
Brother, I love you, and I wish I would have had the opportunity to be there directly myself. Trust me, I understand the pain. I deal with my things on a daily basis, and I wish I would have had the opportunity to spend time with you and talk to you, because you did set the standard for me. You set the standard for what it meant and how it should look like to be a student athlete. And I wish I had the opportunity to be there for you in a time of need. And I pray that your soul rests at peace as we continue to focus and work for you. But I'm sorry that I wasn't there and I didn't have the opportunity to be the brother to you like you were to me.
And can you speak a little bit to what you've had to endure, Jeff? Are you open to talking about what you've had to go through?
Sure. My post NFL career was marred with a lot of things. I was a lot of alcohol abuse, a lot of lost relationships, a lot of mental abuse, a lot of. I lost my son last year. My son committed suicide, and
I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. You're saying sorry. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. I mean, I called and but you know, that's not enough.
well,
I mean, I want you to know how much you're loved and
well,
how sorry I am that you've had to endure this, because I want you to know, man, that you're not alone and that Demo's soul is still around us and that you never have to go through this alone, Jeff, ever.
Well, and I know I've had, I know I have the support, and it's not I spent a lot of that post NFL career making it about me, and I didn't impact the right people and my kids, my relationships, and to this day, I mean, you know, every day you sit and you wake up and you wonder what you could have done different. And I mapped my path out and I was like, I could have done this different. I should have done that different. I should have did this different. And my daughter, right now, our relationship is she's not, because I you know, there are things that transpired during that time frame from a mental standpoint that I made selfish choices. And when you make selfish choices, those choices affect other people. And the people that matter the most are the ones you're trying to get on a path that they can have a bright future. And my children suffered from my choices. And that's just my opinion. Again, that's just my opinion. But God has me now, and I'm trying to do right in all aspects of my life. And I stay prayed up, and I know He's good. I know God's good every day. Every day I wake up, I know that I can plant my feet on solid ground. I know I have a chance. And that's all I want each day is a chance. And He gives me the opportunity every day. I can't live in the past. I can't worry about my past. I can only try to make sure that every day that I have is the best day I can make it, and in whatever capacity that may be. And I try my best to do that. And to have an opportunity to be on the phone with you, John, that helps. That makes my day. That gives me a chance to have one of those days that I look forward to. And so I appreciate you for that, brother, and I love you for that.
Jeff, I love you. I want you to know that the stuff that you went through, I've gone through, you know, with fractured family and the pain and the loss of that family. But I have not had to endure what you had to endure. And I just want you to know that you're still the Jeff Burris that I always saw when I was 18 years old. You're still, you know, bathed in beautiful light. And you're a transcendent human being, Jeff. And you are greatly admired and loved. I want you to know that. And I feel you in my heart, brother. I really do.
I appreciate you.
All right. We're going to see each other soon, okay? We're going to make it happen.
Absolutely. We have to. That's a must. And we can't keep talking about it. We have to.
No, it's done.
All right.
I love you.
Love you too, brother.
Bye.
Bye.